It happened. The Buick betrayed me. It is Octember, don't you know? The last fucking day, and today it had to happen in Octember. So I had to take this for inspection, and that was fine. Started up. When I started it, it cranked kind of slow, and I didn't think much of it. Well, that was a mistake. I should have thought much of it. The ammeter really wasn't rising much at all. I thought everything was fine. Drove out there, no problem. Had to wait because he had a car in there. And after that was done, then I went to get this car, turned the key, and it went tick, 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 tick. I said, uh-oh. And it only sat for a half hour, and that's generally not even a problem. Turned the key again, it fired. I went over there, he inspected it 1, 2, 3, so now I'm good for another year. Don't have to worry about that. I turn the key and it just goes tick, tick, tick. That was it. She was dead. So the guy got his little jump box and hooked it up, and it started. And he said, it's not charging anything. I said, oh shit, not good. So anyways, I did notice on the way there, it kind of was running a bit rough. It is cold today. It was like, I don't know, 40 something this morning. Real bitch to start as well. But I got it started. So like I said, it just kind of ran rough the whole way. I mean, it ran, it drove, everything was fine, but the battery was pooched. Went back to my dad because he's right there. And I said, there's no way I can drive home. The battery is like 11 volts. You know, it's a wonder it's even running. Fucking plane. Every time, a fucking plane. So I went back to my dad, and I said, I can't take it home. What the hell are we going to do? So the next thing we did was we kind of thought about it and said, well, if it's not charging the battery, it's got to be the alternator. You know, we're not getting 14 volts or somewhere near it. A lot of you are going to say, oh, well, the battery was low and blah, blah, blah. It just wasn't. It just wasn't. It just was not having it. So we pulled the alternator. That was pretty simple. There's a bolt here and a bolt underneath over there, and then a bolt right here. That was it. After that, you get it out. Had to move the shroud a bit because that was in the way, because that bottom bolt is like this long. Took it out, brought it over to AutoZone, which they had a replacement in stock, so I figured that would be fine, right? Nope, they have an alternator tester thing, so I said, can you test it? He said, sure. He hooked it up. And he said, no, this is doing fine. It's putting out 61 amps. Well, we came back, reinstalled it, and it magically worked. But there were two things in the way. First of all, the heavy red wire that you see here is, and this actually has to go back in there, the heavy red wire was, oh, I guess he didn't put the boot back on it, but I'll worry about that. There's another little wire you can't see here, which goes on the back with like a spade lug terminal. It just goes on. And that fell off real easily. It turns out it has a plastic insulator on it, and it was only plugged like on the in between the insulator and the terminal. The terminal wasn't actually grabbing onto it and making a good connection. So that could have been the problem. The other thing is the voltage regulator, which is this guy down over here on the firewall, the VR103, which according to AutoZone's website is VR741 is the right one for this car. Well, anyways, I had reseated the connector on that. You can see the connector there. It just pulls off. There's 4 conductors, and that was good. Started it up after you know, jumping it because it was low, and now the ammeter like jumped way the fuck up. Charging, everything's good. We're getting juice in the battery. Everything's going as it should. Okay, great. So somehow it's magically fixed. Fine. Take it home. Did fine. On the way home, the ammeter did what it was supposed to. It came back till it was not vertical, but just a little over, which is fine. Then I had to go out and get dry ice. So I came back, I measured it. It's got 14 and change volts, no problem. And then I shut it off when I got back. I left it for 5 minutes, turned the key, I start going, and I noticed that the ammeter is straight up and down. I said, probably not a wise idea to drive. So turned around, came back, put the voltmeter on the battery, and we only had about 12 volts. Something got fucked. Well, I reseated the connector on the voltage regulator again, and it magically worked. So perhaps there's a dodgy connection there. It doesn't look the shiniest of connections, but I'll address it at another time. So I think what happened was that was the issue the entire time. When I reseated it, everything magically worked. So chances are the cold, which is most of what causes the problems in Octember, is what did it in, and one or more of those connectors weren't making a good connection, so the battery didn't charge at all going all the way out there, and probably on the previous trip I had it out with. So it's a damn good thing I didn't get absolutely stuck anywhere. I still think the voltage regulator should be replaced. It's very simple. It's right there, 2 screws and 1 connector. Because I also noticed that when I had the ammeter across here, it was 2.9 amps. When I disconnected that, it was 1.9. Still totally wrong, and there's still other trouble. But at least we know that that might be faulty, because I couldn't see that pulling an amp just sitting off. That doesn't make any sense. For right now, it's working. The wife's car, on the other hand, is totally dicked. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with it. I hooked the computer up to get the codes because the check engine light, which is persistently on with the P0420, went out and then came back several weeks later. To my surprise, there was no P0420 that it had logged, but it logged 3 other codes: P0300, which is multiple cylinder misfire, P1130, which I forget what the hell that was, and P1135, which is pedal position sensor intermittent, or some crap like that. I think they're all related, but I have no idea. I cleaned the intake throttle plate. That made no difference. So she's been taking my car to work because, you know, can't leave her stuck, because that wouldn't be good. So meanwhile, this is dicked. I don't know what the hell it's, you know, what the hell it's going to cost to fix, but it's got to get fixed. Plan is to replace the MAP sensor. This does not have a MAF sensor, or mass airflow sensor, on this model. It has a MAP sensor, and I'm going to replace that and probably the upstream oxygen sensor to see if that solves anything. If not, then it's going to cost whatever it costs, and it ain't going to be pretty. That's it. It waited till the last fucking day of Octember, although the wife's car happened 2-3 days ago, whatever it was. But everything waited just to happen in Octember. Fuck my life. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. And one more thing. Get stuck? Fix it on the road. Get stuck? You're fucked.